Hello guys, welcome to this MS Access series where we are going to be learning MS Access step by step, specifically created for beginners. And we start off by looking at this messy Excel worksheet. Have you ever wondered how would you be able to fetch or retrieve information from such an MS Excel worksheet, which is very messy with a lot of records, data, and misplaced the information? So this is what MS Access tends to solve. Imagine trying to look for a duplicate data from an MS Excel worksheet, or even trying to look for a name mismatch, or even trying to retrieve a student record and their grade from such an Excel worksheet. MS Access solves this problem by helping you organize your data in tables, which are also referred to as relations. Don't mind about that. We are going to come to it later. But it is organized in form of relations or tables, which then we create relationships with them. So for those who might be wondering what an MS Access is or what a database is just an organization or collection of related data or information that is organized in form of tables. And why is it necessary? It makes work easier for you when trying to retrieve information from your records. So I've already opened for you an MS Access database, and I'll be showing you in this video in a few on how to open an MS Access database. But for the purpose of this class, I've opened an MS Access database for you so that we can go through what we call the menu bar. The menu bar is tabs such as home, create, external data, database tools, fields, and table. And you realize that many of them will become more active as we add data in these tables or in the tables over here. So straight to the point, we start with the first home button. From the home button, you can see that most of them are inactive, reason being we don't have data. So this is where we do the basic functions in MS Access, such as changing the data type, such as changing the font type, also changing the font size from here. We change the font type from here so that you can choose your desired font type. In this, you can also check the spelling. And in this tab, you will also have an important button in the top left bar called the view button, where you can change the view from datasheet view to design view. And this will require you to have saved the table. We also have a create button, and in this home button, it gives you some tools. And these tools inside this menu is where you have the application parts. If you need to insert a new table, you can insert also from here. You can change the table design. You can do a query. We are going to see later on in the next episodes what queries are. You can also be able to create forms and other functions such as macros, which are very important in databases. Then from external data, this is where you can be able to import data from other applications, or you can also be able to import data from those applications. So if you require to import and export data, or even connect your database to external applications such as SQL servers, you can be able to do it from here. You can also be able to access database tools. That is the next button. From the database tools, then you can be able to run macros that you have already created. You can also be able to edit relationships, and this is an important part because this is where you create relationship between several tables. You can also be able to analyze performance, also analyze a table, and also share databases. Then we also have an important part here, and this is by default the part that we open when we are creating databases, because we have the fields, where these fields we are going to determine the data type. You're also going to name the fields from here. Then from there, we'll have tables. From here, you can check the relationship between tables. You can check the status before you insert and also the status after you insert. And then you can also check the table properties from here. So up to that point, you are familiar with the interface and what you might need to do to be able to come up with an interface. So I'll go straight on and show you guys how you open and save a blank database. So I just close this database from here. Of course, you know that this is minimizing. Also, this is closing. So I just close that. I also close my Excel file, and then I'll come to where we have in your Windows. For my case, I'm going to be using Windows 11. And also, as I use Windows 11, note that my MS Access is from MS Office 2016. So I just come to the search button in my Windows. You can click the start button and just search for Access. So when you get Access like this, Access is going to open an interface for you, and you can see it will come with the previous databases that you have opened on the left panel. And then also here we have some templates where you can be able to use. So these templates, we are going to come back to them in the next series. So we are interested in creating a blank database. So you just left click on the blank database, and just before you save the database, check the location from the location path where you are saving your database. So I'll just come and give my database a name. I just call it Steve DB. And then before I save or before I create, I'm going to choose the location from this icon of the folder located on the right. I'm going to choose the location where I want to save my database. So before you save, just check the location. For this purpose, or for the purpose of this session, I'm going to save my database in this PC. So I just click on this PC, and then I'll go to local disk D. Then I'll scroll down to here. I have tutorials for YouTube, and then I'll click on access full episode. Then I'm going to go to episode 1, and then I'm going to say okay. So immediately you do this, you notice that the path changes down here, and then you click on create. So what tells you that you have created the database in the right folder? You just check the path from top here. On top here, check the path where you have saved the access, and then also check the name if the name was written correctly. And as I told you earlier, the database will definitely open where you have the fields and the table. So from this point is where you are going to start now inserting our fields and renaming our fields. So by default, it comes with a primary key of the ID. Of course, we are going to go to these areas where we are going to discuss more about what is a primary key and why is it important in our tables. So from that point, I just want to give you a task so that by the time I upload the next tutorial, you will be able to do this. So just create a new database and be able to save it using your most preferred name. In the next episode, we are going to look at what goes into planning. What do you need? We'll see how we need to prepare tables, fields, and also knowing the data types that we are going to use in our records. So see you in the next tutorial, and don't forget to ask any question, subscribe, and also share these videos with your friends. Goodbye.